On your Monday morning, I'm Sam, and for Julia for a few days, along with Chuck and Julia.
And it is Monday, by the way, for
It
those
is.
of you that are having to head back to work, or maybe you just have just one eye open because you don't have to head back just yet.
Or you were thinking about the Colts all night and couldn't sleep.
Yes, that too.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we're going to hear, as you mentioned, more from Dom Miranda in a little bit. And by the way, Dom is also going to fly to cover the Notre Dame college football playoff game.
Right.
So we've got a lot going on in sports, and we also have a lot going on in the weather, kind of, sort of.
Okay.
Nothing is good, right? In
okay.
December, nothing going on is always good. So just remember that. You don't want rain, you don't want snow, you don't want ice, and we don't have any of that this morning. Although yesterday we had the full complement of rain. Rain amounts from an inch and a half around Lafayette to about an inch to 3/4 of an inch here in the Indy Metro. Right now we're looking at this. This is some snow and a developing system causing winter weather advisories in Denver. We're going to be touched by this system, but not with snow really. It's mainly with rain and then a little wintry mix tomorrow morning. So let's talk about this dry start to our day. We're at 41 officially in Indianapolis and Richmond. Richmond, a place, by the way, that had nearly 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts last night at about 6 o'clock. Greencastle's at 42, Bloomington's at 44. Hey, it's already warmer than it's supposed to be. In fact, the average high is 37, but these winds are doing two things. One, they're helping to keep these temperatures here and some cloud cover in. We've gotten a wind at 11 miles per hour here, 14 miles per hour at Kokomo, but it's also helping to prevent fog. Fog is not an issue here. We have 10-mile visibility at all of our airports here in the central part of the state. So as we go into the day, we've got a good one. Cloudy skies, 39 by 8 a.m., 47 for a high. After the evening, we're going to get rain in here, and we'll talk more about that and the effect it may have on your New Year's Eve day coming up in just a few minutes. Let's get over to traffic this morning. We do have our first crash of the morning, unfortunately. It's on 465 and 70. In fact, this is the area where it is. It looks like they may have cleaned this up now. It looks like they have. So here's where the accident was. It was on the ramp going 270 eastbound from 465 on the city's east side, not affecting traffic through downtown at about 65 miles per hour. And here we go. This is a look at that area. So the crash has been cleaned up, so we're not working any crashes right now on that 465 belt this morning, and that's a great way to start the day off. On the northeast side, 69, Fishers to 465 at 65. You're putting on the brakes, though, at 82nd Street, all the way down to 20 miles per hour, ladies.
All right, Chuck, thank you. This morning, we're working to get more information from Indianapolis Fire Department about an overnight fire on Indy's Near East Side.
This was just after midnight along East Washington Street. It's near Oriental Street at the Assembly Apartments. So if you're familiar with this area, this is also close to that Ash and Elm Brewery. We don't know if anyone was hurt just yet. We're checking back in for more information, and we will keep you updated right here on 13 Sunrise, plus on our news app.
Your time is 6:03. This morning, we are also working to learn the names of 2 people killed on Indy's west side over the weekend.
And Metro Police say that they were stabbed. Matthew Foltz has been following this story overnight and has the latest this morning. Good morning, Matthew.
Yeah, good morning to you both. Metro Police telling us this all started from a fight that they say happened outside of several businesses on the city's west side. IMPD says the officers were called to this small strip mall that you see here on your screen near the intersection of 10th and North High School Road around 2:30 Sunday morning. Officers say they found a crime scene, and then minutes later they say they were called to Eskenazi Hospital, where 2 men came in with stab wounds. Police believe both of them were stabbed at that strip mall before coming to the hospital in critical condition. That's where they later died. Metro Police tells 13 News this is now the 205th homicide investigation of the year. We spoke with Reverend Charles Harrison with the 10-Point Coalition, who tells us that the growing number of killings is now frustrating. He believes it will now take everyone to prevent more. Take a listen.
I think we cannot do that unless we get the involvement of the city, family members, friends who happen to be where these arguments and conflicts may be occurring. They have to do their part to help reduce the level of violence and settle these conflicts without anybody getting hurt.
And again, this morning, we are still working to learn the names of the two men who were stabbed and killed. We're also going to be comparing the number of homicides last year to this year. We'll break down those numbers coming up here at 6:30. Ladies.
Yeah, it's still disturbing to hear those numbers even now, Matthew. Thank you. Well, an 18-year-old arrested in connection with a shooting at Castleton Square Mall is due in court sometime today.
You'll remember someone heard gunshots at that mall around 8:30 Monday night. No injuries were reported at first, but the 18-year-old later showed up at the hospital after he'd been shot. Police arrested him after he left the hospital. He told officers someone shot him after an argument. That 18-year-old is now charged with felony intimidation. We can tell you detectives are still investigating what happened that night. So if you can help, you're asked to call Metro Police or Crime Stoppers. That number here on your screen, 317-262-TIPS. One of the biggest stories from over the weekend that still has a lot of people talking this morning, the passing of former President Jimmy Carter. He was 100 years old.
And likely we'll be talking about for a while. Carter dedicated his life after leaving office to brokering international peace. NBC's Chris Pallone has a look at his life and legacy as the 39th President of the United States.
People in Atlanta have been leaving flowers and notes outside the Carter Presidential Center, remembrances for the nation's longest living president who died Sunday at 100 years old. The tributes pouring in from around the world and across the nation. A moment of silence before the Washington Commanders game outside D.C. New York's Empire State Building lit up in red, white, and blue. The flag atop the White House lowered to half-staff.
This is a sad day.
President Biden, vacationing in St. Croix, remembered his longtime colleague and friend and reflected on his legacy.
Jimmy Carter lived a life measured not by words but by his deeds. He forged peace, advanced civil rights, human rights, promoted free and fair elections around the world.
My name is Jimmy Carter, and I'm running for president.
Biden, then a senator, was the first politician outside Georgia to endorse Jimmy Carter's bid for president in 1976. He's sometimes called America's greatest former president, a nod to his life of diplomacy and service after his one term in the White House.
I'd say peace and human rights and treating everybody the same has been what I hope will be my legacy.
President Biden said the thing that convinced him to endorse Jimmy Carter for president is the same quality that endeared him to generations of Americans over the last 50 years.
And what Jimmy Carter is an example of is just simple decency. Simple decency. And I think that's what the rest of the world looks to America for.
While pointing out their many differences, President-elect Trump said on social media Jimmy Carter did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Washington.
And take a look at this. Here at home, people are already leaving flowers for former President Carter outside the Benjamin Harrison presidential site right here in downtown Indianapolis. Organizers tell us anyone is welcome to come and lay flowers at Carter's medallion. The site will also be adding black bunting to the home later this morning around 8. Of course, reactions continue to pour into Carter's death from across the country.
Yeah, we heard from Martin Luther King III as he describes Carter as a man of great character.
When you talk about morality, when you talk about spirituality, when you talk about character, if you would look up any of those words, you'd probably find a picture of Jimmy Carter, because that's who he was. But he was one of the greatest humanitarians that our nation and world have ever seen.
Political leaders here in Indiana are offering their own tributes to the former president as well.
Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett released a statement saying that Carter led with civility, an unparalleled dedication to uplifting others. He goes on to say that he encouraged others to honor his legacy by making similar commitments to the betterment of our neighbors and our country.
Former Vice President and former Governor Mike Pence is also commenting, saying that Carter served America with distinction, and his humanitarian work at home and abroad impacted millions of people and will inspire generations to come. These, of course, are just a couple of the many tributes coming in this morning. We've got more posted for you right now at WTHR.com.
One of the other big stories from over the weekend is parts of the U.S. that have been hit really hard by severe weather. We'll take a closer look at the damage done so far and how many are already trying to rebuild. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning, Jalea. We're not expecting severe weather, but we are expecting more rain before the year ends. Right now, we're just under 4 inches of rain for the month of December. More on the way beginning tonight. We'll have a timeline for you coming up in our forecast.